Dr. Director, Marine Center of Sustainable Development and Director, Marine Institute of Management. Professor Vijay Kumar M, Director, Department of Communication and Media Studies. Dr. Matthew Dan, retired Principal Scientist, Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden Research Institution, Trivandrum. Miss Angela Matthew, Faculty of HBCSDS. Good morning all. On behalf of the Nature Club, Sustainable Club and Department of Communication and Media Studies of Marine College Kutikanam Autonomous, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you. Today, we are gathered here for a nature event, a one-day seminar on biodiversity conservation and eco-restoration. This initiative is brought to you in association with the Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society and is generously funded by the Kerala State Biodiversity Board. Biodiversity, the intricate web of life that surrounds us, is not just a collection of species, but it is the ecological balance and sustainability. The seminar aims to delve into the significance of biodiversity conservation and the imperative of eco-restoration to ensure the well-being of our planet and future generations. We understand that biodiversity is not just about the number of different species, but also about the interaction among them and their environment. It represents the resilience of ecosystem and their ability to adapt to changing conditions. Today's discussion will explore the multifaceted benefits of biodiversity conservation, ranging from supporting essential ecosystem services such as clean air, water purification, and climate regulation to play a crucial role in agriculture, medicine, and various sectors that sustains human life. This seminar serves as a platform to highlight the role of biodiversity in maintaining cultural and recreational values for communication. Moreover, it underscores the interconnectedness between biodiversity conservation and social development, illustrating how a healthy environment supports human livelihood and contributes to community well-being. We are honored to have with us extremely personalities from various fields which are generously agreed to be a part of this event, highlighting the significance of our collectively commitments to biodiversity communication. Before diving towards the session, let's seek the blessings of God Almighty. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise up, and I request Joel Jacob from 1st MCMS to come forward for the prayer conference.
പ്രാർത്ഥനാഗാനം പാടി പാദധാരിൽ നിന്നു കൈകൾ കൂപ്പിടുന്നിതാ നാമം വാഴ്ത്തിടുന്നിതാ പാൽമഴ പോലെ വിണ്ണിൽ തെളിയണം നീ പ്രീതനായി ഞങ്ങളെ നീ സ്വന്തമാക്കണേ ദേവദാനമാക്കണേ പ്രാർത്ഥനാഗാനം പാടി പാദധാരിൽ നിന്നു കൈകൾ കൂപ്പിടുന്നിതാ നാമം വാഴ്ത്തിടുന്നിതാ.
I invite Secretary John of 1st MCSS to deliver this welcome speech and set the tone for the day.
A pleasant good morning to one and all gathered here for the seminar on biodiversity conservation and eco-restoration. Today, we embark on a journey of knowledge and collaboration, exploring ways to protect and revive a planet's rich biodiversity. As we delve into insightful discussions and share expertise, let us collectively strive for sustainable solutions that safeguard our ecosystems. Your presence underscores a shared commitment to environmental stewardship, and I am confident that this seminar will be a catalyst for positive change. I hope today there will be a crucial conversation on preserving the diversity and vitality of our natural world. First of all, I would like to welcome our principal, Professor Dr. Ajman George. He's our mentor, motivator, and guiding light of our institution. He's our great supporter always. We welcome you, sir. Now, let me welcome our resource person, Dr. Matthew Lam, retired principal scientist, Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden Research Institute, Pala, Thiruvananthapuram. He specialized in conservation of medicinal and aromatic plants. Himself discovered 7 new plant species and published the data in international journals. He was also the research guide in Kerala University and Kannur University. He actively involved in developing and maintaining germ-class collection of medicinal and aromatic plants in Jawaharlal Nehru Research Institute for the last 35 years. We welcome you, sir. Now let me invite Dr. Jomi Agustin, retired professor, St. Thomas College, Pala. Dr. Jomi Agustin was given the International Award for the Best Paper Presentation in the International Seminar on Multidisciplinary Approaches in Angiosperm Systematics in the year 2008. He will be leading our second session. We welcome you, sir. In his absence, we welcome. I would also like to welcome Dr. Murali Varapan, Director of Marine Center for Sustainable Development and Marine Institute of Management. Had presented about 250 papers in various international, national, regional seminars on various sustainable development, corporate social responsibility, eco-spirituality and environmental education and Indian culture. In his absence, I welcome. Now let me welcome Ms. Ashwini. She is the District Coordinator of Idiki District Coordinator of Kerala State Biodiversity Board. We welcome you. I would also welcome the other members from Kerala State Biodiversity Board, Dr. Anda Matthew, Assistant Professor, St. Thomas College, Pala, and Mrs. Angela Matthew, Director, Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society, Idiki. With your support, this program wouldn't be possible. We welcome the Kerala State Biodiversity Board members. Next, I would like to welcome our dear Professor Vijay Kumar, the Director of Department of Communication and Media Studies. He is a person with huge knowledge about anything and everything. He is also an environmentalist. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Reverend Father Sobi Kannali, Head of the Department of Communication and Media Studies. Your presence graces this seminar. Welcome. Next, I would like to welcome the coordinators of Nature and Sustainability Advocacy Club, Ms. Juji Jo, Mr. Davis sir, and Jalil sir. Welcome. I would like to welcome our all faculty members from various departments to this seminar. Welcome you. Last but definitely not least, the participants, the students of our college. Without you, the program will be in vain. Welcome, my friends. I conclude. Once again, welcome you all. Kindly forgive if I missed any names. Have a good day. Thank you.
I welcome you to the program too. Now, we will have a program introduction by a faculty member from Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society. Now, let's invite Angela Matthew. Ma'am, please.
A very good morning, honorable, respected dignitaries and dear all. Myself, Angela Matthew, representing Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society, Idiki. Today, we are together conducting NISHE 2024 on the seminar on biodiversity conservation and eco-restoration. This program is sponsored by Kerala State Biodiversity Board with an aim to protect and conserve our rich biodiversity through sustainable utilization. And also, the board is interested to conserve nature with creating awareness among youngsters. program, including two technical sessions. First session will be led by Dr. Matthew Dan. Let me introduce our resource person, Dr. Matthew Dan. He is a retired principal scientist, Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanic Garden and Research Institute, Palod, Thiruvananthapuram. He received PhD from University of Kerala. He published 93 research papers, 8 popular books, 6 booklets, 23 chapters in books proceedings, produced 9 PhDs, supervising 2 PhDs work, and specialized in conservation of medicinal and aromatic plants, biosystematic and taxonomic characterization, production of quality planting materials and its popularization, systematics of gingibraceae. He has 35 years experience in this field. So, very respectful, I welcome to the function, sir. Second technical section led by Dr. Jomi Augustine, retired professor, St. Thomas College, Valley. To this introduction, let me conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The man behind the success journey is Marian. The man driving the institute to excellence and extraordinary individual who is very particular about the well-being process of the students. We have none other than Professor Dr. Ajmal George, the principal of Marian College, Kottikanan Autonomous, to inaugurate the seminar of Biodiversity, Conservation and Eco-Restoration. I invite to deliver the inaugural address, and as a token of honor, we are going to water a plant placed over there. Please, sir.
Most respected resource persons, Dr. Matthew Dan, Dr. Jomi Augustine, Dr. Murali Vallakhan, Professor F. Vijay Kumar, Father Sobi, my dear esteemed colleagues and my dearmost students. Very happy to be present here in this one-day seminar. And the attraction of this seminar is the presence of eminent resource persons like Dr. Matthew Dan, who has got 35 years of experience in this field and also in the field of research. I take this opportunity to congratulate the Nature Club and the Department of Communication and Media Studies in organizing a workshop of this sort. And all of you know that we give much importance and utmost care that all our activities that are implemented and happening in the campus have connection with the Sustainable Development Goals. And this seminar gains relevance in that context also. And in the context of climate change and global warming, which we often hear, it is very important that all of us, particularly the youngsters, need to have awareness about the need to protect our environment, to protect the nature, and what all things we can do as individuals. Utmost care and effort should be taken from our part to protect the environment. It is our responsibility, particularly being those who are getting higher education. We have got a greater responsibility than the common man to give utmost care in protecting the environment and all. So the seminars of this kind will definitely enlighten us, gives us more awareness and give us more idea about what can be done practically in this direction. So that is, I hope we will get these kinds of insights by attending the seminars of this kind. Anyway, I wish you all the best for this one-day seminar, and with all your consent, I convey that this one-day seminar is inaugurated, and with these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you for your gracious presence and wise words, sir. We are also privileged to have the representatives from the Kerala State Biodiversity Board for the contemplation. I am inviting Ms. Ashwati, Idukki District Coordinator of Kerala State Biodiversity Board for the facilitation.
നമസ്കാരം, എൻ്റെ പേര് അശ്വതി. ഞാൻ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡിൻ്റെ ഇടുക്കി ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട് കോർഡിനേറ്ററായിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡ് എന്താണെന്ന് ഞാൻ ഫസ്റ്റ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാം. ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ സെമിനാറിൻ്റെ ആ കണ്ടന്റ് തന്നെ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി കൺസർവേഷൻ മുൻനിർത്തി 2002 ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ആക്ട് പ്രകാരം രൂപീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളതാണ് ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡിന് സ്റ്റേറ്റിൽ ഒരു ഓഫീസ് മാത്രമാണ് ഉള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു 3 ടയർ സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡ് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഫസ്റ്റ് തന്നെ നാഷണൽ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി അതോറിറ്റി, അത് ചെന്നൈ ആസ്ഥാനമായി പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നു. സെക്കൻഡ് വന്നിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡ് തിരുവനന്തപുരത്താണ് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നത്. പിന്നെ വന്നിട്ട് നമുക്ക് BMCകളാണ്, ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കമ്മിറ്റീസ്. അത് നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലുമാണ് ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കമ്മിറ്റികൾ രൂപീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഈ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കമ്മിറ്റിയുടെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ എല്ലാ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലും ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ക്ലബ്ബുകൾ രൂപീകരിക്കണം എന്നുള്ളതാണ് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ഇടുക്കിയിൽ ഏതാണ്ട് 270ഓളം ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ക്ലബ്ബുകൾ രൂപീകരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. എങ്കിലെ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൽ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ എന്തോ നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിലെ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ക്ലബ്ബ് ഞാൻ കണ്ടില്ല, അതിന്റെ രജിസ്ട്രേഷൻ ഞാൻ തപ്പിയിട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഇതിന് ആധാരം തന്നെ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി കൺസർവേഷൻ ആണ്. എങ്ങനെ നമ്മുടെ ജൈവവൈവിധ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? ഒരു പ്ലാന്റ്സ് മാത്രമോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആനിമൽസ് മാത്രമോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ മനുഷ്യർ മാത്രമോ ഉൾപ്പെടുന്നതല്ല. മൊത്തത്തിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഇതിൽ വരുന്ന എല്ലാ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി കണ്ടന്റ്സ് ഉൾപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ള ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റിയെ സംരക്ഷിക്കുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ സുസ്ഥിര ഉപയോഗം സാധ്യമാക്കുക. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രകൃതി വിഭവങ്ങളുടെ നിന്നുള്ള ഓരോ പ്രയോജനങ്ങളുടെയും നീതിപൂർവമായ പങ്കുവയ്ക്കലുകൾ സാധ്യമാക്കുക. ആക്സസ് ആൻഡ് ബെനിഫിറ്റ് ഷെയറിംഗ് പറയും. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കമ്മിറ്റികൾ രൂപീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇതിന്റെ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളും നമ്മുടെ ഓരോ തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ വഴിയാണ് നടത്തുന്നത്. അതുവഴി നമുക്ക് ധാരാളം ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ഗാർഡനുകൾ, ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി പാർക്ക്, നമ്മുടെ ഇടുക്കി ഡിസ്ട്രിക്റ്റിൽ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റും ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ക്ലബ്ബുകൾ രൂപീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള സ്കൂളുകളിൽ നമ്മൾ പാർക്കുകളും മറ്റും സാധ്യമാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ ഈ സെമിനാറിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വളരെ പ്രഗത്ഭരായ വ്യക്തികൾ തന്നെയാണ് ഇന്ന് ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഡിസ്ട്രിക്റ്റിലേക്ക് ഫസ്റ്റ് ആണ് ഒരു സെമിനാറായിട്ട് ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ബോർഡിന്റെ ഇത് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് സാധ്യമാക്കിയ NGO-യായ ഹൈറേഞ്ച് ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി കൺസർവേഷൻ ആൻഡ് സോഷ്യൽ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ് സൊസൈറ്റിക്കും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഈ സെമിനാറിന്റെ സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ഇതിനു വേണ്ടി സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ ഒരുക്കി കൊടുത്ത മരിയൻ കോളേജിനും ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ആശംസകൾ അർപ്പിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വളരെ ഈ ഒരു ക്ലാസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ജീവിതത്തിൽ പ്രയോജനപ്പെടുത്താൻ കഴിയട്ടെ എന്ന് ആശംസിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നിർത്തുന്നു. നന്ദി.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Dr. Muralidharan, Director of Marian Center of Sustainable Development and Marian Institute of Management for the acknowledgement. Please, sir.
Very good morning to all of you. Dr. Matthew Tan, Ms. Ashwari, Sri Vijay Kumar sir, and all those dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I am very happy at the outset itself to wish you all the best for this one-day seminar on biodiversity. പണ്ടുകാലത്ത് ഈ ശാസ്ത്ര സാഹിത്യ പരിഷത്തിന്റെ ക്ലാസ്സുകളിൽ ഇരിക്കുമ്പോൾ അന്നത്തെ ഒരു മുദ്രാവാക്യം പോലെ ഞങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചത് അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് പഠിച്ച ഒരു കാര്യമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതിതാണ് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് എന്തുകൊണ്ട്. ഈ ചോദ്യമാണ് ആവർത്തിച്ച് ആവർത്തിച്ച് ചോദിച്ചിരുന്നത്. വൈ 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 why there is biodiversity? Have you ever thought of that? I will just take 3 or 4 minutes. Number 1, there are 2 theories now on the cosmic evolution. One is Big Bang and the second is the Big Bounce. ബിഗ് ബാങ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ വലിയ ഒരു ബിന്ദുവിൽ നിന്ന് ഈ പ്രപഞ്ചം മുഴുവൻ ഒരു ബിന്ദുവിൽ നിന്ന് പൊട്ടിത്തെറിച്ചുണ്ടായതാണ്. ഇൻഫ്ലേഷൻ ചെറിയ അത് എക്സ്പാൻഡ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. പലതായിട്ട് എക്സ്പാൻഡ് ചെയ്തതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ടാണ് എല്ലാ തരത്തിലുള്ള ഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കുന്നത്. There are many universes, multiverse എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. There are many solar systems, there are many planets. And on the planet itself, there are many types of life forms and also organic and non-organic forms. So that is how the biodiversity, which is part of the multiverse, universe-ന്റെ multitude-ല് multiplicity-യുടെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടാണ് ഭൂമിയിൽ ഉള്ള ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി. ജൈവ അജൈവ സൂചിപ്പിച്ചതുപോലെ ജീവനുള്ളതും ജീവനില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം വെറൈറ്റിയാണ്. ഈ വെറൈറ്റി ആയിട്ടുള്ള സാധനങ്ങളെല്ലാം തിരിച്ച് ഇതേ എവിടെ നിന്ന് വന്നോ അങ്ങോട്ട് പോകും എന്നുള്ളതാണ് കൺവർജൻസ് ഹൈപ്പോത്തസിസ്. അതാണ് ബിഗ് ബൗൺസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഇതെല്ലാം തിരിച്ചങ്ങോട്ട് പോകും എന്നാണ് ശാസ്ത്രത്തിൽ പറയുന്നത്. ഇതൊന്നും ആരും പോയി കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല. സൂര്യനിൽ ആരും പോയിട്ടില്ല, സോളാർ സിസ്റ്റത്തിൽ ആരും യാത്ര ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. എങ്കിൽ കൂടി നമ്മൾ ഇതെല്ലാം ശാസ്ത്രം പറയുന്നത് വിശ്വസിക്കുകയാണ്. മതം പറയുന്നത് അങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ വിശ്വസിക്കുക ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പലതും കാണാതെയാണ് വിശ്വസിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. കാണുന്നത് പലതും ശരിയല്ല. ഇന്നലെ രാത്രിയിൽ നമ്മൾ കണ്ട പല നക്ഷത്രങ്ങളും ആയിരക്കണക്കിന് വർഷങ്ങളായിട്ട് കത്തിത്തീർന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷെ നമ്മളത് കാണുന്നു. അപ്പൊ കാണുന്നതൊന്നും ശരിയല്ല. That's not my point. So there is biodiversity and it is this biodiversity that is to be conserved. And അതിന്റെ എങ്ങനെ കൺസർവേഷൻ വേണം, UN-ന്റെ പ്രോഗ്രാം എന്താണ്, ഇന്ത്യൻ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ എന്താണ്, കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ എന്താണ്, I am not going to all these things. These are all mere information which you can Google it and find out. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ട്രേസിംഗ് ദ ബയോഡൈവേഴ്സിറ്റി എന്നുള്ള കൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അതില് നോഹയുടെ ആർക്കില് 16,000 പരം ലൈഫ് ഫോംസിനെ കൺസർവ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ബൈബിളിൽ പറയുന്നത്. 16,000 പരം ആനിമൽസ് അതിൻ്റെ അകത്തുണ്ടായിരുന്നു എന്ന് ഒരു 20-25 വർഷം മുമ്പ് ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഗവേഷണം ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു. കെയർ ഫോർ ക്രിയേഷൻ, പുതിയ എൻസൈക്ലിക്കൽ ഫ്രാൻസിസ് പാപ്പ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്ന കെയർ ഫോർ ക്രിയേഷൻ, whatever is created should be taken care of by human beings. കാരണം എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? മറ്റുള്ളവ ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ മനുഷ്യനില്ല. And human species is the most insignificant species on this planet. ഹണി ബീസ് ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ 3 മാസത്തിൽ 4 മാസത്തിൽ കൂടുതൽ നമുക്ക് ജീവിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. പോളിനേഷൻ നടക്കില്ല, ഉൽപാദനം നടക്കില്ല. വളരെ സസുഖം ഇവിടെ ജീവിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കും എന്നും തെളിയിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് കൊറോണ പീരീഡിൽ. മനുഷ്യൻ ലോക്കൗട്ട് ആയിരുന്നു, പക്ഷേ നിരത്തുകളെല്ലാം വളരെ ജൈവ വൈവിധ്യം കൊണ്ട് സമ്പന്നമായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ട് മനുഷ്യന് നിലനിൽക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ബാക്കി ജീവജാലങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായേ പറ്റൂ. ബൈബിളിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്ന പോലെ രാമായണത്തിൽ 182 സസ്യങ്ങൾ, വൃക്ഷങ്ങൾ, മെഡിസിനൽ പ്ലാന്റ്സ് ഇവയെല്ലാം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇതിനെ കുറിക്കുന്ന ആയുർവേദമുണ്ട്, അശ്വായുർവേദമുണ്ട്, വൃക്ഷായുർവേദമുണ്ട്. മനുഷ്യനെയും മൃഗങ്ങളെയും പ്ലാന്റ്സിനെയും സസ്യങ്ങളെയും ഒക്കെ ചികിത്സിക്കാനുള്ള മാർഗങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഖുറാനിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു മനുഷ്യൻ ട്രസ്റ്റിയാണ്, വെറും ട്രസ്റ്റിയാണ്, ഉടമസ്ഥനല്ല. Therefore you have to conserve these resources. What I wanted to convey you is that bioconservation or biodiversity conservation is not at all a new concept, but it is as old as the old religious scriptures. That's all what I wanted to convey, and I am concluding my speech by felicitating once more and wishing you all the best for the coming 2 or 3 hours of deliberation. Thank you very much, and congratulations special to the Media Studies Department under the headship of Vijay Kumar sir, and also all those organizations in Marine College associated with this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now call upon Professor Vijay Kumar, Director of Department of Communication and Media Studies. Thank you.
I congratulate the officials of the Biodiversity Conservation and Eco-Restoration Department, Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society, the Nature Club and the Sustainability Advocacy Club in Marine College, and the organizers of this program, particularly my colleague Father Sobi Kanare, and all the participants of this program. I'm not an expert in biodiversity, but what I know about myself is I am one who loves nature. There are 3 genius Malayalis who have thought about biodiversity and sustainability even before the formation of the Biodiversity Conservation Board. It was only during this end of the 70s or in the early 80s that we had built a big organization in Palur. Am I right? I don't know whether, is it in the 80s? 79. It was in 79. But before 1979, we had people like Vaikam Muhammad Bashir, Bhumide Avakashi, has written a story on Bhumide Avakashi. And there was another man who was devoted his life for the conservation of mangroves in Kerala. His name is Kallein Pokuda. He has also written 2 books. Even though he has studied only up to standard 2, he has, with the help of his son, Srijit Paithalen, who happens to be my student at the MCJ in Kanivata campus, written 2 books, Kandalin Kadil and the Jeevitham. And the third one is a person who is not right now residing in Kerala. She is living. She is called Daya Bhai. And the biography of this person, Daya Bhai, has been written by a policeman And the book is called Panchaviral. So these people involve themselves in bioconservation and sustainable development even before the biodiversity board was established in Kerala. So just go through these 3 books. And I would also advise, not advise, suggest that you should read Ernest Buck, Nobel laureate, Good Earth. If you get an opportunity, you should read these books. Bashir's ഭൂമിയുടെ അവകാശികൾ, കണ്ടലുകൾക്കിടയിൽ എൻ്റെ ജീവിതം, കല്ലേൻ പുകട, and Panchaviral, Deyapraya. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, end of inauguration session now. Now, we can take a tea break for 15 minutes. Teas and snacks are arranged in front of the hall. Soon after the break, we will move to the technical session. I request all of you to remain with me. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, I know you all are waiting for the insightful section by Dr. Matthew Dan. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Matthew Dan and Dr. Ando Matthew for willing to coming here and deliver the session for us. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank Kerala State Biodiversity Board for offering this session for Marine College Kuttikkanam. Thank you, Biodiversity Board and the coordinators and officials of Biodiversity Board in Idukki district, especially Ms. Ashwini, the Idukki district coordinator of Kerala State Biodiversity Board. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to thank Highrange Biodiversity Conservation and Social Development Society for coordinating this kind of programs of social responsibility and cultural social responsibility and ecological conservation. Thank you, Ms. Angela Matthew, Ms. Anjana Kartar AJ, Ms. Alicia Tangam A for offering this wonderful program in Marine College Kuttikkanam. Thank you. Next, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Ajman George sir, for permitting us to offer this kind of a program for you all. Thank you, sir. And last, not least, I would like to thank MCMS Department, Nature Club and Sustainability Advocacy Club for organizing this kind of club, and special thanks to Dr. Murli Vallavan sir, Director Marine Center for Sustainable Development and Director of Marine Institute of Management, Dr. Professor Vijay Umar sir, Director MCMS Department and HOD of my MCMS Department, Father Sobi Kanali. Thank you, Father, and thank you all for this. Thank you all for being here for this wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now you all can go and have your teas and snacks. biodiversity researcher. He has produced 9 PhDs and 3 PhD works, actively involving in developing and maintaining germplasm collections of medical and aromatic plants in Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden Research Institution for the last 35 years. He has received a sponsorship from the British Council to undergo internship at Royal Botanical Garden, UK in 1995. He also has privilege of visiting botanical gardens at Italy, of which Singapore, China and also Thailand. Sir is also awarded with Professor T.R. Shahu Award in 2002 and Dr. P.D. Sethi Award in 2010. Sir, we are truly blessed to have you as a speaker and we are really looking forward to hear from you with due respect and inviting you. This session will be followed by an interaction session to flash light on your queries and doubts. So please.
A warm good morning to all of you, respected faculty members and my dear students. Really, it's a privilege to me to be here in the midst of nature lovers and to have some interaction about biodiversity as well as nature. And as in the inaugural session, several speakers pointed out the relevance of things and organisms which are around us and nurturing us day by day. So, this topic is very much relevant not only to biology students but everyone, as all human beings are directly as well as indirectly in touch with the nature around us. So before starting my presentation, I would like to have a homage to this eminent person. How many of you know who is this? Anybody knows? He is the founder of Chipko movement. And Chipko movement is the first elaborated movement in our country to guard trees, mainly a group of villagers and tribal people used to hug trees to protect them to being cut off. So Sundarlal Bahuguna is well known to lead such an eminent group of people from the grassroots level and that spread all over the country as the first major movement to protect biodiversity, especially the trees. So this is a collage, as you can see, with a lot of images. Both animals and plants all are there. But do you have any opinion that any of the pictures are not coming under biodiversity? You can see many plants are there, trees are there. But on the extreme right you can see the white dots. It is nothing but the eggs of a night fly. And the next one is the seeds of bitter gourd. And here you can see
a special structure. It's a microscopic view of a pollen grain. So readily we cannot say they are organisms. But whether all these will come under biodiversity, that's my question. Next. So you can see the definition of biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the full variety and variability. Please, not every word is very important. In this definition, every word is very important. Variety and variability of all living forms on Earth, including plants, animals, see the microorganisms, and see this is also very important, genes and ecosystems. Previous slide, please. Previous. So that's not my question, whether this seed or this egg of a moth or with this pollen grain, whether these things also will come under biodiversity. As per the definition, even a single gene is also coming under biodiversity. As in the egg, though it is not a complete organism, the genes of that particular moth is in that, and this is not a plant, only a seed, but it holds the entire gene constitution of that particular bitter gourd. And this is a pollen grain. Pollen grain actually holds half set of chromosome of a particular plant. So genes are there. That's why again next. So as per this definition, all these things, and not only these things, and the whole environment. You can see a picture of the environment from a part of Western Ghats. So all these will come under the definition of the term biodiversity. So now we'll move on to what are the different forms of biodiversity. This picture is from your district itself, near Munnar. And coming to the forms of biodiversity, there are three major categories such as species diversity, genetic diversity, and ecological diversity. What's a species? You know, species indicates a particular organism of a particular type. And in every species, multitudes of genes are there. So within that species, there are variations with respect to the genomic patterns. That's why it's called genetic diversity. And of course, ecology, you know, where any organism is dwelling is its ecosystem. So the diversity of ecosystem is also a component, a form of biodiversity. I will explain them. So this actually a numerical data on the species diversity. But of course, don't completely rely on these numbers, because these numbers are varying drastically. And please note that human beings has not yet completely enumerated the number of organisms of any kind. Even the plants, flowering plants, every year new plants are being discovered and added to this number. So it is only a number as per the recent occurrence in 2023. So for example, virus and bacteria, of course they are very microscopic microorganisms, and only 1269 were identified. That doesn't mean it's only that much microorganisms are there. And in the world it is 11,000 something. But plenty are not yet identified or even seen. Coming to the algae, it is around 9,000 in India. And of course fungus, more studies has been carried out in fungus, the mushrooms and all those things. So that's why the number is small. And lichens are certain very small organisms. Actually, in lichen is a combination of both algae and fungi. They are living together as a single organism. especially on the bark or the rock surface or something like that. There are more than 2,000 in India. And bryophytes, another smaller group of plants called mosses, and they are also around 3,000. And pteridophytes are ferns and relatives of ferns, and they are over 1,000. And gymnosperms, 80 to the finest. You can see the pine trees around your campus, and all those pines and cedars and all those junipers and coniferous trees will come under this category. And 82 species are reported in India. And of course, angiosperms means the flowering plants. So far, 21,000, around 22,000 are reported. Again, I am stressing that but it's only reported number. Still more and more are there yet to be find out. So this is the total estimate, 55,000 above, and the world it is 4 lakhs something. And so the percentage strength of India is 11.71. That's the point which I would like to stress, because how rich India is with respect to the diversity of species. And coming to the species diversity in the animal kingdom, these are the major categories of animals, such as vertebrates with a firm vertical column. Nematodes means earthworm-like worms and all, 15,000. And mollusks are shell-holding animals in the marine ecosystem mainly. All the mollusks are coming in the shells and so many, you know the shells and conches and all the things will come out of the mollusks. And crustaceans are organisms with a hard coating over the, such as the prawns, lobsters, crabs, all will come under the crustaceans. Arachnids are spiders and related organisms, and insects, of course. So, coming to the animal world, insects are the most wide, with over 5.5 million numbers in the world. Still, again, all these numbers are not the actual figure. More and more are yet to be discovered. Next one. So this is an example of species diversity. The diversity of a species within a genus. All of you know the plant turmeric, isn't it? Turmeric we are using our home every day. So this is the typical turmeric. This turmeric, you may know, this is flower of the turmeric. It comes under the genus Curcuma. But in world over, more than 120 species of turmeric relatives are there, coming under the same genus. So that diversity is called species diversity. You can see how much variability is there with respect to different species in turmeric. And you can see a small plant here. This is the smallest of that kind in the world, and it is seen in the extreme northern Kerala and in some part of Karnataka, nowhere else in the world. This is the smallest curcuma, hardly 10-12 centimeters in size, and discovered around 20 years back. Has very limited number, less than 2,000 numbers plants, growing in rock crevices, highly endangered and critically in critical situation, and conservation is very, very difficult because that plants will grow only in that particular nature, that habitat. So no chance of any exit to conservation or take it from that and conserve it somewhere else. It is very much habitat specific. So this is one of the rarest member of that Curcuma genus. This another example. This plant, you know, it is in our kitchen. This is this one, Jadika in Malayalam, and it's nutmeg, the famous spice nutmeg. So see the diversity of different species of nutmeg. in Western Ghats. This is from our own area, from Western Ghats. And this one and this one are the new species which we published from our own institute. They are huge trees, and many of them, all of them are unisexual, means male tree and female tree are different. So the study on these plants are very difficult, and see how much variability is there with respect to that Myristica genus. All these we can call as a wild nutmeg present in Western Ghats. This is one more example I am giving for the species diversity. This is called, this is Saida, or in Malayalam it is called Kurundoti. It is a very famous medicinal plant, well known and widely used in Ayurveda, Siddha or several treatment systems. And in South India and in the Western Ghats we have 17 species of this particular genus. Almost you can see how much variation. We have studied all the details, including the microscopic structure of its roots. Otherwise, with respect to the flowers, they look almost alike. You can see the flowers here. Almost all the flowers are yellow in color, and the structure is also almost same. But with respect to the structure of microscopic structure of the root, they are different. That indicates each plant or each species has a finger mark in it to make it different from the other species. So this shows the diversity. And next, as I mentioned earlier, insects are the group which shows maximum diversity. They are called ground beetles. This category holds more than 40,000 species. So very limited study has been carried out in insects and all. But this insect called Coleoptera, coming under the family Carabidae, see the diversity with respect to the size, shape, color and all. So this is the example of species diversity. Next one. And coming to genetic diversity. Genetic diversity means the diversity within a species. For example, in coconut. Coconut is a species, as you know. Scientifically it is known as Cocos nucifera. But within the same species, see how much variability is there with respect to the size, shape, color and all of the fruits alone. Another good example is of banana. You are very much familiar with the banana. We have plenty of varieties of banana, but all are coming under the same species. But very much variability is there. All these varieties just because of the genetic diversity present in these species. Next one. Another best example is of mango. The scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica, and mango diversity is maximum seen in India, as it is considered that mango is originated in India, and see the different parts of India has much diversity of mangoes. All these mangoes belongs to the same species, but the variability is just because of its genetic difference. This is another good example, the maize. See how much variability is there with respect to the grain size, the corn size, color and all. Next one. Another example is of potato. Could you imagine this much variability is there within the same species potato? We know a typical type of potato which we are using, but see how much variability is there, and this is the example of tomatoes. So all these variability are because of this genetic constituent within a species. The similar variability is also seen in animals, such as in cows and bulls, and also in dogs. So since these plants and animals are domesticated, and we are growing these mangoes, bananas, coconut, potatoes, and also the cows, bulls and poultry, that variability is very advantageous with respect to the utility of that particular organism. So we are protecting it, growing it, maintaining it, breeding it, and all those things will enhance the variability within this. So for example, poultry also, you can see how much variability is there. So this is because, as I mentioned, all these organisms, whether plants or animals, we are domesticating and protecting it and conserving this wide genetic variability. But in the case of wild plants or wild animals, who cares? For example, crows or rhinoceros or cobra, whether any variability is there or not, it is. But nobody is noting it, observing it, or documenting it. So this is a plant called Shandupushpam. You may be knowing it's an ornamental plant as well as a medicinal plant. So this blue one and white one is common everywhere. But you can see 7 different forms of this particular species is there. We have analyzed in detailed manner with respect to all the structures and chemical constituents and like that. All coming out of the same species, but otherwise it is different. These are some other examples. This is called apers or called kunni. Kunni kuru, you may be knowing. This is the typical kunni kuru with the bright red seeds, small seeds with a black spot on it. But various varieties are there with respect to the green seed color variations are there. Another example is this genetic diversity within a species. Malayalam it is called Naipurna. It's also a medicinal plant. Both these are wild plants, and as I mentioned earlier, not only in cultivated or domestic plants or animals, but even in wild species. If we are making some thorough investigation and documentation, definitely we could find variability within that species. So the nature is very much amazing with respect to the genetic diversity. And the third type of forms in diversity is ecological diversity. So every organism is depending on a particular ecosystem. So this diversity in the ecosystem is a factor of the diversity within an organism. Mainly there are 3 different type of biomes or ecological systems, such as land biomes. Mainly there are 21 type of major are these 5: forests, savannas, grasslands, deserts and tundras. These are the major classification of land biomes, which are again classified, subclassified. For example, forest itself is different type of forests are there. Deciduous forest, every forest, pine forest like that, mountain forest like that. So altogether there are 21 different type of land biomes are there. And coming to freshwater biomes, as you know, on Earth's surface, the major portion is aquatic or water, and in that freshwater and marine systems are there. In freshwater itself there are 5 different groups such as rivers, lakes, swamps and ponds. And coming to marine biomes, all these portions are marine biomes. Marine is the most widely seen portion in our globe. So it is classified as 10 different biomes. So all these biomes are very relevant with respect to the diversity of a particular plant. For example, electric ray, you know electric ray is seen in the sea, or seahorse, or turtles. These organisms cannot be grown anywhere else in the globe. So this type of diversity is very, very significant with respect to the existence of a particular organism. So the damage to any of these ecosystems by virtue of natural or other calamities, pollution, fire, earthquake, all these things will definitely affect a particular organism. And now we have to move on to another important terminology called hotspot. When we are learning about biodiversity, this term is very relevant because hotspots are an exceptional land area or biome where concentrations of endemic species. What do you mean by endemic species? A species which is located only in a particular region, we can call it as an endemic species. A species which is seen nowhere else other than a particular region. That's an example I shown in the curcuma, a smallest curcuma. I told it is only 10 to 15 centimeters and seen only in South Karnataka and extreme tip of Kerala. Nowhere else that particular species is there. So that particular species is strictly endemic to that region. And hotspot indicates a region with high concentration of endemic species, and that region is very much susceptible to any sort of damage, ecological damage, especially human interventions and such things. Next slide. Here I will see there are totally 36 hotspots world over, and this is the major one where we are existing. We are in this hotspot, the Western Ghats, Sri Lanka is together. India, there are 4 categories are there: the Himalayas, the Western Ghats, Indo-Burman region, and the Sundarland. So these biodiversity hotspots are regions that contain a high level of species diversity. Most of them will be endemic, and a significant number of threatened and endangered species. So such areas are named as hotspots. For example, in Western Ghats, or in Malayalam it is called Pachimaghattam, you can see a hill range here. This particular photo is from our own institute, which is existing in the foothills of Western Ghats. You can see a peak here. It is called Agastya Gudam or Agastya Mala. Agastya Mala itself is very much famous with respect to the diversity of plants and animals. So in Western Ghats itself, totally there are 4,780 species of flowering plants, of which, see, half of them are endemics. 2,180 are strictly endemic to this region. That means these plants are seen nowhere else in the world. Coming to the vertebrates, there are 1,073 species of vertebrates in the Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, of which 355, 1/3 of vertebrate animals are seen only in this particular region. So this is one of the important hotspots where we are existing. Why we have to conserve or discuss or study about biodiversity? Because loss of biodiversity is a great threat not only to human beings but the entire organism. See, because of these reasons, unregulated and illegal harvesting or exploitation, diversion of forest land for other purposes, and of course some biological factors are also there for the loss of biodiversity, and natural calamities like flood, earthquake, volcano or something like that, and damage due to indirect human activities. So this indicates human beings are the major culprits against biodiversity, and we are doing a lot of destruction to the diversity, both by indirect, even by indirect human act. Major reasons are pollution and urbanization. Pollution itself causes this much effects such as greenhouse effect, ozone layer depletion, global warming, and contaminated habitats. In early days, we are thinking that global warming is happening somewhere else, much beyond our territory or something like that. But we have to be cautious that we are in the process of all these things, especially here we are facing global warming much, and the climate has entirely changed in last June, July. In every year, June, July is a monsoon period, but you very well evident that in last June, July, no rains at all. So now it is only January, but in many, not in Kutikal, but in many regions, it's very, very hot, as if we are in March, April. So the entire thing has changed, and definitely these changes are affecting other organisms. Especially simple example, the flowering and fruiting. Even in mango tree, there is a typical climatic condition and a typical season for flowering of mango. But this type of variation in the temperature as well as the humidity in the atmosphere definitely change the phenological adaptations of a plant. Phenology means the flowering and fruiting of a plant. And if it is repeating for the consecutive years, 4 or 5 years, definitely the pattern of the plant will change, and it will cause unimaginable consequences in our daily life. So the message is, we have to live, but we have to let others live in this globe. And in the inaugural session, sir has already mentioned this statement. This is made by Einstein. This wonderful statement. Einstein is actually not a biologist, but he has made this wonderful statement. If the bee disappears from the surface of the earth, man would have no more than 4 years to live. Because the entire plant kingdom is existing by the pollination doing by the bees, and everything which we eat is because of the pollination process in the correct way, and next generation of plants are raising by the seeds. So if seed setting is not, if pollination is not there, no seed setting. If seed setting is not there, no plant kingdom. And if bees are disappearing from the earth, human beings will disappear within 4 years. Then the question, next. Now the question is, but what if the man disappears? If the man disappears from the earth, nothing will happen. All other organisms will exist finely, and they will be more happy that this destructive creature is not here to trouble us. So we should be very aware that we are not the prime, we are not the superiors. Next one. We are thinking that we are in the topmost position and all the other organisms are under our foot. But actually we are only one among the other organisms. So we have to leave the ego and replace the letter G by C as echo. The term echo is originated from the Latin word oikos, O-I-K-O-S. When we are writing in English, it is oikos. The meaning of oikos is house or home. So we are one among the members of this home. The study of home is ecology. Oikos, logos is the ecology, means the study of our home where we are existing. So whenever man is thinking that I am only a member of this home, that will be the fine situation. If it is having an ego and thinking that we are in the topmost, no, we don't have any further existence. So see the list of extinct plants and animals. In the plants itself, already 384 has completely extinct. Invertebrates 98, fish 23, amphibians 2, 21 reptiles has already disappeared from earth. Birds 113. Not all these numbers are not actual fact. Many are there, but these are the accountable. And already 83 mammals has disappeared. So the warning is by 2050 is very near. 2050, if the situation is continuing like this, 40% of land-based species may disappear from Earth. So that's a warning published in Nature in 2004. So the message is, one by one, they can all disappear. Only then will you shed a tear. So shedding tears is not any remedy for this great loss. We have to act accordingly, and that's your great responsibility. And what are the means to conserve the biodiversity? Actually, the National Biological Diversity Act has come only in 2002. Actually, this is a very, very pathetic situation. India is a very biodiversity rich country, but the Biodiversity Act has come only in 2002, and the biological diversity rules established only in 2004. We are already very late, but still we have to do something on this to protect the entire thing. And what the modes are, of course, for the biodiversity conservation is in situ conservation as well as ex situ conservation. The word in situ means conserving an organism within its natural habitat, in the forests or wherever an organism is dwelling. If we are conserving an organism within its natural habitat, it's called in situ. And if we are conserving an organism outside its natural habitat, we are calling it an ex situ conservation. So, of course, botanical gardens are one of the best examples of ex situ conservation. So, coming to the in situ conservation centers in India, according to 2020, all these categories are examples of in situ conservation, such as national parks, wildlife sanctuaries. Again, they are classified as Project Tiger and Project Elephant, emphasizing the population of tigers or elephants, and the Ramsar sites for marshy or areas, and the biosphere reserves, World Heritage Sites, and of course sacred groves. All these are categories of in situ conservation centers. Next. And coming to agro-diversity, assuring food security is another aspect of this conserving biodiversity. One of the best examples is the traditional rice varieties. Actually, the rice which we are eating is the plant Oryza sativa. But as I indicated earlier, within that rice, we have plenty of variabilities with respect to the size of the grain, color, taste, fragrance. So many rice varieties are there. And many are land rice, means naturally occurring light rice varieties. But unfortunately, many has vanished from around us. And in Wayanad itself, Wayanad is an adjacent district of this place. Wayanad itself, there are more than 28 rice varieties. Imagine how much diversity we have with respect to this potential crop. So these are some of the examples which I have given at the bottom. And one positive aspect which I would like to mention is one person from Sultan Bathari is called Prasid Kumar. He holds the germplasm of over 350 rice varieties by his own. So he was recently recognized by the government of Kerala by giving award and all. And he holds 350 rice varieties. And the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, decided to construct a rice museum at Sultan Bathari, and by next year there will be a rice museum there which holds over 350 rice varieties. So it's very near to your place, and we are lucky enough to conserve such things and as part of educational displays. Very soon we can expect one rice museum in Wayanad. Next. all of you may be familiar with arrowroot, the term arrowroot. Arrow means it's a pointed thing. The root of this particular plant has a pointed root. Actually, this plant is called Maranda aerutinacea, and this is a tropical American plant, reached India hardly within a century. Within 100 years is the origin of this plant in India. This plant, as I mentioned, it's basically from tropical America, and somebody brought it to India and cultivated it. Now it's popularly known as arrowroot, and arrowroot biscuits are not even knowing. A very good flour is starch content flour is available in its roots. But the interesting thing is that even in several Ayurvedic texts and in Hortus Malabaricus, all these books were written quite ancient. In the Ayurvedic texts written in BC mentioned about arrowroot. So this arrowroot, which is popularly cultivating and using by us, has reached India only within a century. Then which is the plant mentioned in the Ayurvedic text, which is written as in BC? That is this plant. This is a wild relative turmeric, curcuma species, and you can see the starch isolated in that box. You can see the starch isolated from that particular plant. Very lumps of good edible, easily digestible, healthy starch is available in that particular plant. But we have totally forgotten about this thing when the new plant arrives here. So this is how the loss of traditional knowledge. So the loss of traditional knowledge is also affecting badly the diversity. Next. So exit to conservation, as I mentioned earlier, good examples are botanic gardens, field gene banks, seed banks and pollen banks. Exit to conservation is when we are conserving a particular organism outside its natural habitat. So this is the garden where I was working for the last 36 years. This is Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanic Garden and Research Institute, the largest botanic garden in Asia. It holds 300 acres of land with over 4,000 species conserved there, and it is in the foothills of the Western Ghats. As I told you earlier, Western Ghats itself is very much diversified with biodiversity. Next. So this is the enumerated list of the plants which we are maintaining in different categories such as bamboos, gymnosperms, insectivorous plants, lesser known fruits, orchids, palms. So different categories of plants are being conserved at the garden there. Next one, please. And another important role of botanic garden is not only conserving the plants but also to impart the knowledge regarding the conservation, or it's called conservation education programs for various group of people and visitors. Next time. Several people are visiting, and we have trained experts to teach them in their own language. If they are PG students and if more farmers or local people or students from KG, so depends upon the ability of the visitors, we are imparting the knowledge on the relevance of conservation. Yes. This is a typical example of how a botanic garden can protect or conserve a critically endangered plant. This is coming in next. See, it is categorized as critically endangered. Critically endangered means the population is very limited, and at any time it may go to the list of extinct plants. It has its own difficulties, such as it needs particular moist, evergreen nature for growth and establishment. It's a very slow growing plant. It attains reproductive maturity only after 12 or 15 years. So it is very slow growing. And unisexuality is another different. Male and female plants are different. And poor seed germination is a factor. See, you can see plenty of roots are there, but less than 17% of seeds are getting germinated. So poor seed germination is one of the reason. And over exploitation means this wood of this particular plant, you can see the yellow color here. Due to this yellow color, it is called a maramanjal or wood turmeric. And that yellow color is because of the berberine. Berberine is an alkaloid present in that plant. It's a medicinally important plant. So many people are used to cut the wood of this plant, and due to overexploitation and due to all these reasons, the number of plants considerably reduced in the natural habitat. So as per the report in 2014 report, there were only 33 mature plants of this particular species in the natural condition in Kerala. This is a report by the Kerala Forest Research Institute, KFRI, made a study, a survey, and found out that only 33 mature plants are there in the whole state. So we have taken a considerable effort as a botanic garden. It is so from 1985 onwards, we made a lot of studies on this, and our seed bank scientists made a considerable, remarkable finding. By reducing the moisture content of the seeds, the germination percentage was enhanced, and they could germinate up to 90-95% of seeds just simply by reducing the moisture content of this particular seeds. And in 2015, we have opened a particular area called Sanctuary of Medicinal Plant, this Maramanjal there. And as on the previous studies, there are only 33 adult mature plants in the whole state. Now I am proud to say that even within our campus, we have more than 50 mature plants in the campus which are fruiting and flowering. And we are giving lot of seedlings to the forest department. Over 2,000 seedlings of this particular plant was given to the forest department, and they reintroduced this particular plant in natural habitats, and that's one of the tasks and major achievement of conserving this critically endangered plant. Next. So in 2015, we opened a sanctuary with over 50 plants planted within the campus. And an interesting finding is that in nature, when we have sufficient plants, in nature here and there we can see the seedlings. You can see the seedlings coming up. As I told earlier, the seedling germination is very, very poor, less than 17% when we are sowing the seeds. But now we can see some seedlings are emerging in our campus under certain trees. Then we made an observation and found that this is the reason. The fruits of this particular plant has a very, very attractive aroma, and due to that aroma of the fruity smell, bats will consume it. And when they are eating, the external portion of the fruit is absorbed by the bat, and the seeds are passed through its alimentary canal to the intestine and dispersed as a casting. By that time, some sort of scarification or due to the digestive juice of the bat, the seeds are stimulated for germination, and the bat casting creating more and more sprouting of the seeds. This is how one organism is helping another organism for its existence in the nature. Next. This is another example of such a plant-animal interaction of conserving a rare plant. This tree is, you can see a huge tree. This is called Pullinia exarlata. It's called a keystone species. Keystone species means this particular tree, this is the fruits, you can see the dehisced fruits and you can see the seeds inside that. This particular tree is also very rare and seen in Silent Valley region and all. Silent Valley is already declared as a national park. And next. And this part, next please. And this particular animal is called lion-tailed macaque. It's Simhavalan Kurangal. This particular monkey is solely eating the seed, the fruit portion, the pulp of this particular seed. And the giant squirrels. Giant squirrels are also very rare and restricted only in certain forests. Giant squirrels are also restricted in certain forests. They are actually sucking the honey and extracting the pollen grains as a food. And they are pollinating this particular flowers and fruit setting, enhancing the fruit setting. And these lion-tailed monkeys are breaking the hard cover of the fruit, eating the surface of the fruit and dispersing the seeds. When the monkeys are dispersing, the seedling germination is enhanced in the nature. So this tree and these animals are very much closely related and helping each other for their existence. So the tree, this lion-tailed monkey and the giant squirrel, all are rare in the nature, but they are mutually supporting each other. So these are certain wonderful examples which I would like to share with you to see how much nature has its own means to conserve one species and another by mutual support. But the only hostile thing is man is creating the most disturbance to this biodiversity. So my point is conserve today for a better tomorrow. That's all. Thank you. Any points to discuss or any queries? Yes, sir. Sir, Sir was asking about two species of Dioscorea. Dioscorea kachil. That's a tuber crop called kachil or yam. These two varieties were another species of this kachil or yam which we are using. The Dioscorea species is worldwide used as a tuber crop, especially in Africa and Asian countries. Sir is mentioning about its another different forms such as Nanagadangan, Cheragadangan. Cheragadangan is a very small type of yam. Nanagadangan is bit more elongated. All these are different species of the same genus Dioscorea. So these species are much prominent or much dominated in earlier days, and many people used to cultivate it, and especially tribal people solely depends upon around 7 species of Dioscorea in the wild. But nowadays it is very much limited, as pointed out. These varieties are almost disappeared from the agricultural lands. Now the distribution is very much limited. Anything else?
Any other questions? If you have any questions, please ask.
So thank you very much for your patient listening, and I hope you could grasp. I know most of you are not biology students, but still I tried my level best to make it simplified with the minimum scientific terminology. So I hope I could throw some light in for you regarding the relevance of biodiversity as well as the significance of conserving it. And I also take this opportunity to thank the organizers as well as the officials of the Marine College to give me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this very fruitful session. We have enlightened by your work. Thank you, sir. Now, we have a presentation by Ms. Anjana Karta, AG, on the topic of morphological variations in wild Philanthus amplica of Marayu. Idiki. Welcome, ma'am. Business Scholar JNPJRI. I present my topic, morphological variation in wild Philanthus emplica of Marayu, Trichy district. So, the Philanthus emplica belongs to the family Euphorbiaceae, and it is one of the important medicinal plant in Indian traditional system of medicine. The fruit of Philanthus emplica amla is a treasure trove of vitamin C. It reveals the presence of medicinal hormones such as vitamin C, flavonoids, ambicot, and ambicatin A and B. So it is used as a daily medication. Naturally, there are different variants in the wild Philanthus emplica, which differ in terms of their taste, size, color difference, and texture of flesh. Nowadays, many cultivars are introduced in the market, but still many of them depend on the wild fruits. The non-scientific collection practices of the fruit and over-exploitation leads to the loss of genetic diversity. Hence, The characterization of the wild type are important to understand the genetical diversity and their conservation. So coming to the objectives of the study, the qualitative and quantitative variation such as the qualitative characters such as the shape, size, color, and the quantitative characters such as fruit weight, total soluble sugar, and moisture content in the wild accession of the Philander empiria by analyzing some morphological and physical characters and identification of the allied tree from the accession. These are the methodologies are used in the present study. The field trips are conducted to the forest areas of Marayu of Idiki district. The fruit weight and the stone weight are recorded by using a digital weighing balance. The fruit length and the fruit diameter was measured by using a vernier caliper. The moisture content of the collected accession are recorded following ISTA 1998 method. The total soluble sugar was recorded by using a hand refractometer. This image shows the difference in the fruit apex and fruit size. And these are all the images I just taken during my field visit. Coming to the result, the wild sample of Philander empiria in Marayu forest area shows a wide variation. The color of the collected sample varies from the light green to light red in color. The entire fruit weight of the collected accessions may vary from 3.59 to 10.12 gram and the fruit height by 15.89 to 25.61 mm. The fruit birth of the fruit varies from 30.50 to 16.74 mm and the moisture content ranges between 81 to 85%. The total soluble sugar of the collected accessions of the Marayu forest area of Idiki district varies from 6.5 to 11.3 grams. And next, this is the table which represents the morphological variation of Marayu accessions. There are 13 accessions were collected from the Marayu district, and their fruit color, which ranges from green, yellowish green to light red in color, and the fruit apex may recorded as round, truncate, and acute in shape. And next is the images which collected from the Marayu forest area of Idiki, and the figure shows the morphological variation of the fruit in their size and color. And this is the next table, which is showing the size variation recorded from the accession collected from Marayu. The fruit height, fruit diameter, pericarp thickness, fruit height, fruit weight, entire fruit weight, and the stone weight of the collected accessions are recorded in the table. By comparing the 13 accessions, the sample M23 found to be a superior one. And this graph shows the same, the morphological variation of the amla. And by analyzing this graph, we can easily identify that the M23 found to be superior one. And the next table shows the variation of the sugar content and the moisture content of the collected accession. By analyzing the table, we can easily identify that the sample M17 shows the high total soluble sugar content and the M23 shows the high moisture content of the fruit. And coming to the conclusion, the fruit shows the variation in the qualitative character like their shape, color and taste. And the quantitative character of the collected accession of the samples differs in the fruit length, fruit breadth and stone weight. The sample M23 found to be superior one compared to all the data or all the preliminary data we did. The wild accession of the Philander empiria shows a considerable variation. So, there is a chance to reflect the variation in the genetical diversity also. So, nowadays, the large introduction of the cultivars in the market and the over-exploitation has led to the loss of amla's natural variant or wild variant. And there is a high risk of extinction of the natural variants. Hence, we should take the necessary steps to conserve the diversity or the natural diversity in amla. To conserve them, we can introduce in situ and ex situ conservation practices. So establishment of a field gene bank of amla in JNDBGRA garden is in progress related to the conservation of the natural diversity of amla. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we have another representation by Ms. Alicia Tangachan, on the topic role of reproduction biology of realization of conservation with specific reference to an endemic species of Western Ghats. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon all. Today I am presenting a part of my PhD work, the role of reproductive biology for the realization of conservation with special reference to Acrotrema agasthyamelianum, an endemic species of the Western Ghats. We all know that reproductive biology of plants. The plant reproductive biology is the study of mechanism and process of sexual and asexual reproduction in plants. It includes all aspects such as pollination mechanism, gene flow, genetic variation, and propagule dispersal between and within population. Knowledge on reproductive mechanism of plants can help to assess the adaptive significance. Studying reproductive biology can also give insight into the delimitation of species and intra-species. Detailed information on reproductive biology of plants is essential for developing effective strategies for conservation and sustainable utilization. Reproductive biology. Plant reproductive biology is an essential tool that helps in the conservation practice of many rare, endangered, threatened species. The features that help a plant species to adapt to its environment broadly depend on the different reproductive attributes such as its dispersal, its seed dispersal, germination capacity, and the rate of survival of adults and seedlings, age of flowering, duration of reproductive phase, flower-fruit ratio, and they found to play an inevitable role. Plant species ranked as extinct, endemic, and threatened categories had faced many reproductive constraints. To overcome these constraints, the reproductive features such as the process of male and female gamete development, pollination, development of endosperm, formation of the embryo, etc. can provide important clues. By learning reproductive biological studies, a researcher can formulate certain protocol to convey the problems which hinder the regeneration of the plant species that need conservation. In prioritizing global conservation effect, endemic medicinal plant species merit urgent research priority because these plant species usually show narrow distribution range, represent a few and fragmented population in nature, and are currently subjected to multiple anthropogenic threats. To develop effective conservation strategies for the endemic species, understanding their basic reproductive biology is crucial in achieving success in species recovery and habitat restoration. Detailed studies on the reproductive biology of genus Acrotrema are still very limited. Keeping in view the immense importance of this genus, present study was conducted. This Acrotrema agasthyamelianum is a beautiful plant that belongs to the family Bilinaceae. Bilinaceae is the family of flowering plants with 11 genera and about 430 known species. They include trees, shrubs, lianas, ravi, subshrubs, and rhizomatous herbs. Most of the members in it are woody plants, lianas, or trees such as Dillenia, but herbaceous species such as Hibertia and Acrotrema. Fruits of some species such as Dillenia indica are edible. Some of its species play an important role in the traditional medicine and they have been used for the treatment of various diseases and infections. Some of the plants are wild ornamentals suitable for landscaping. This is a species Acrotrima agustimalayanum. Coming to the systematic position, it belongs to the kingdom Plantae, phylum Tracheophyta, class Magnoliopsida, order Dillinaceae, family Dillinaceae, genus Acrotrima and species Acrotrima agustimalayanum. The genus comprises 10 species worldwide, 2 species in the Western Ghats. That is Acrotrima arnotianum and Acrotrima agustimalayanum. Acrotrima agustimalayanum is newly described species distributed in the forest areas of Tirunelveli district. It is endemic to the Western Ghats. It is the potential wild ornamental and wild relative of medicinal property. Only few populations are identified so far. These are my objective of the study. To study the phenology and floral biology of the plant, to study the breeding behavior of the plant, to study the pollination mechanism and pollination ecology of the target species, to study the seed biology, fruit initiation, dispersal and germination, to evolve conservation measures based on the above aspects. These are my aspects of study. That is, I conducted field trips and my major study areas are Chemunji Hills, Braimur, Adimala, forest areas of Western Ghats. Then go for the phenology. It's a vegetative and reproductive phenology. That is leaf flushing, flowering and fruiting. Then pole germination studies. That is fertility and viability. Then go for the stigma receptivity studies. That is hydrogen peroxide test and tap test. Then pollinator observation. Honey bees, carpenter bees are the major pollinators of this species. Then fruits are capsule. Seeds are minute and it dispersed through a split open of capsule. Seed germination is normal hypogeal germination. And I conducted seed viability test and breeding experiments, that is autogamy, deuterogamy, synogamy and open pollination. Then pollination experiment will conducted during the peak period of stigma receptivity. These are my major findings. The distribution areas of this species is measured, and it find that it is a low population and pollen germination is very low, pollination visitation is low, low seed germination, seed dispersal distance is low. Then reproductive biological studies show that these plants have a low reproductive capacity. Detailed study may provide clue to the regenerate and survival capacity of the species. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we are winding up our forenoon session for lunch break. All of you please be back by 1:30 p.m. You will be eligible for UT leave and certificate of participation only on the basis of participation in both forenoon and afternoon session. So, I request all of you to disperse for 60 minutes and come back by 1:30 p.m. Another eye-opening session awaits you. Thank you.
Please come back at 1:20.